nice to meet you.
Yeah, same.
This is David. Yeah.
Nice earrings and nice microphone, by the way.
Thank you, David.
Oh.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you for doing this, for being here. It's just a joy to meet you. You two look like you were made to be together.
Oh,
Absolutely incredible. Look at you.
look at us. Look at
And
us.
I feel like you just, I'm sure you agree, David, but it feels like you knocked it out of the ballpark with this one. We love Jane, and
Yeah.
just my husband and I, through our entire time, you know, having her in our course, we just thought that, you know, she was the catch of the century.
Oh, Lisa. Like,
Truly, truly. And I really, you know, I say this honestly. I mean, Benjamin was like, if there was a woman who I would date, it would be Jane. Truly.
Oh, yeah, and she's even better than she looks.
How great is that? Well, I want to welcome everybody who's watching today to this amazing interview. And it is such an incredible honor to have Jane and David on this presentation. I'm so excited. This is the first time I'm getting to meet David, but I know that when I meet the men that my women find, they are really the top of the heap. And maybe, you know, I don't say that lightly. I think, David, women feel that there is a heap out there of men, and we're looking for those extraordinary men, you know, the ones who really are a match for us. I think a lot of women today are doing so much work on themselves. And we are climbing and climbing and climbing, both in our careers, in our you know, our professions, in every aspect of our lives. And it seems so challenging to find good men. And you may say, I'm interested to hear your perspective, that it's very challenging to find good women. So what, David, I'm going to open it up to you and start there. Can you share with us your perspective on this from the perspective of being a high quality man? What was it like for you out there?
Well, I was online, and it was just a lot of clicks and talking to a lot of women and meeting a few. Well, yeah, a few. And
Uh-huh.
I mean, I think there's a lot of quality people out there, women, persons, and it's just finding the one that you click and, you know, you respond to, and she responds back.
Mm-hmm. How long were you out there looking?
I'd say a year and a half.
A year and a half. And
Yeah.
how many women do you think you went out with? May I ask?
Actual dates, I don't know, maybe a dozen.
Just a dozen in a year and a half. Not many, not compared to my 96 first dates in 2 years. So that's what I
Yeah,
mean.
yeah.
When
I would have been got too tired on that one.
yeah. Right. But it takes some time and some energy. Were you putting much energy, much effort into it?
I was putting, I would say I was putting energy into it, definitely. I think after being out there that long, I was a little cynical about the whole process.
Mm-hmm. Were you meeting women offline? Like, did you meet women out and about?
No, not too much. I live in a small community, and I'm not real forward that way. So, you know, I'm kind of introverted. So I just.
Nice. So just for all the women who are sitting here looking at you and going, okay, I'd go on a date with him, right? I mean, he's just seems lovely. So may I ask, you are introverted and it's not easy. Like I think women have this idea that high caliber men are out there and they're chasing women and they're all forward and whatever. So can you kind of illuminate us a little bit from your perspective?
Well, I guess what I would say is that I always appreciate a woman who is confident and, or not confident, but she can give a guy a green light and just really know, like, put it out there and just say, yeah, I am really interested in you, and I'm interested in getting to know you and you getting to know me. And just really, instead of not pursuing so much, but being very available and open to interaction and just,
Receptive.
yes.
Like really receptive and showing enthusiasm, mirroring back, yes, you're doing all the right things. I like this, I like you, but giving you feedback, continual feedback that she is interested and
Yeah,
that
that's
you
very
are.
encouraging. Yes.
Yeah, it's encouraging. And what are you aware that a lot of coaches are telling women to lean back and let men chase them and, not respond to a message for 3 days? And where would you
No,
go?
I'm not aware of that.
Really? Yeah,
But
that's
I think I know what you're talking about. It's like, that's one of the things I liked about online is mostly everybody's there for kind of the same thing, which is to make connections and meet someone. So that makes it easier for someone
mhm,
who just doesn't walk up and start talking to people.
right.
And so, yeah, I
Yeah,
lost my train of thought a little bit
that's
there.
okay, Jen. You are so receptive. One of your charms is your enthusiasm. Were you always that way with men?
Oh, no, because I'd heard the same advice you just talked about, Lisa. Like, lean back, let them chase you. There's a certain, like, there were rules, or that if you didn't do something kind of right, like, there were some kind of rules that you were supposed to be following. And it wasn't until your program, right, that it's like,
Uh-huh.
turn everything upside down, go down a different street. Oh, look what happened. Yeah.
Mhm. Yeah, and you had permission to be you, right? I gave you, like, the way I approach this is the right guy is going to be so excited that you're excited.
Yeah.
That's what he's looking for. They don't, this whole idea of leaning back and playing games and being hard to get. A quality woman is hard to get anyway, just by nature of the fact that she knows what she wants and she's accomplished and she's not just gonna, she's nobody's fool. So for those reasons, right, a quality woman is going to be hard to get in a way, but at the same time, there has to be that openness and accessibility and receptivity, right? And
Yeah.
especially because the best men are more like, I believe the men worth having are the Davids of this world,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah. Yeah. I think one of the things that you did, Lisa, was really encourage me so strongly. The phrase in my mind is fun and flirty, right? That I could relax and bring out the fun side of me, like
Mhm.
just relax into it and not worry. I mean, just, I wanted a relationship that had fun in it, And so you were so encouraging about like, okay, then you have to be fun, like just be fun and have fun with this. And that was one of the huge differences.
Are we having fun?
Oh,
Oh, okay. All right. Yeah, it's fun.
Oh yeah, just a little bit.
That's really what we want, right? Like we want fun, playfulness, joy, spontaneity, connection, this beautiful connection. And of course, the depth can come. Life has enough, bumps and and bruises along the way that we don't have to sit around and make it more complicated than it already is, or at least that was my revelation when I was out there, was that those things will come anyway, but we don't need to sit around and, be deep. And I used to think, I'm deep and I want to be profound and, I have depth. I realized that humor can be the deepest thing of all. Like you can be in the depth of just humor and playfulness, and that can be the deepest thing of all when you're with the right person. Jane, where were you when you found me? Yeah, when you found me, where were you at when you clicked on that? You saw me on a summit, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I had come out of a relationship kind of on and off for a couple of years that I was really done with. It was just someone who was an avoidant person, and that had really
say a little bit about what an avoidant person is, just for anybody who's listening.
Well, my experience was this man was very present and then would retreat, and then present, like when I would start to question or back off, then come in again. And so it was like this back and forth, which really, hindsight, being clear of it now, is like that was just so messy and did such a number on my brain in a way, right? Intermittent reinforcement. Oh my gosh. So was out of that, was very clear that I wanted to move forward. I wanted a relationship. I wanted a really significant, lovely, go the distance relationship. And I also knew that I wanted help doing that. It only made sense to me to get an expert. Because obviously, I mean, with any other thing in my life, I'd get an expert. I'd get some input, right? And your program, Lisa, the way you approached it was just the perfect fit. It was a perfect fit.
Yeah, and Jane, you heard, I'm guessing, quite a few other coaches, especially on that particular summit, because I think there were 20 or 25 other experts, and some who have big names. I know some who are quite well known. You selected me out of those people, and why? What was it that stood out to you?
So, and I'd, done some programs over the last 3 or 4 years, just small programs that some coaches had done. I'm a good learner, so I like learning new things. So tips, but it was all just tips or strategies or some guidelines or those rules. And that obviously is like I was in the same place. Like I still wanted the relationship that I wanted. And what was different, Lisa, was your program was like 2 or 3 things. One was that depth work on myself. The work around patterns. I mean, I could talk about that for 10 minutes, just how significant that was, right? So really thinking about what I was bringing to this. And then the help with the profile, right? I really knew that I wanted help with the I was like, I wanted some help with that.
Can I pause you for a moment?
Yeah.
Let's put a bookmark there. David, talk about the profile. What was it about Jane's profile? Can you remember what stood out to you about it?
Yeah, I do. It seemed to me, as I read it, that she had gone through a visioning process and written a lot of it down, very well written. All her punctuation was good and all that stuff. And then, but I just really liked what she said, and I really agreed with it. And I could tell she had a big dream about what she wanted in a relationship, and I have that too. And so, yeah, she just seemed, it was a good profile.
Did it
It was
stand out?
good. What?
Did it stand out from other profiles you'd read? And why?
I think that she was clear.
Mhm.
I think she put out there, and like I said, it wasn't too long, wasn't too short. She spoke about herself. She spoke about, not only did she speak about herself, but she spoke about what she wanted and the kind of person that she was looking for, which, you see that in a lot of profiles, it's just someone just talks about themselves or they just talk about someone. But I mean, it was a good balance that way. And I just think she was clear, and she let her enthusiasm and she let her big ideas,
Mhm.
her big dream come through.
Well, then she also talked about what she had to offer a partner, right? And what the relationship would look like between the two of you. That's always something that we really focus on. What is this relationship going to look like? And what is she going to give you as a woman? And those are things that are often not in most profiles.
Yeah, that's attractive. Yes.
Mhm. Yeah, if this is what I'm looking for, but this is what I also am gonna have to offer you as a partner. And I think those are two things that are, that's something that you don't see in a lot of profiles.
Yeah.
This is what I'll do for you. So yeah, yeah. And what was the third thing, Jane? Do you remember the
Oh
profile?
yeah. Yeah.
Mhm.
So the doing the self work, the profile, and then the coaching, the actual coaching as I got started online and being in the group with all the women. So you hear not only your own story and experience, but you learn from all of those. Because I mean, Lisa, we would not be sitting here, right? If it wasn't for your coaching. It's like, yeah, stick with that, stick with that, stick with. I mean, it was just like, oh, okay, this is what this looks like. Yeah,
Yeah.
that was invaluable, absolutely invaluable.
Well, and something really miraculous happened for you in particular, Jane, when you posted your profile. David responded almost within hours.
Yeah, she got lucky. I mean, she went online for like 24 hours. I'm like, shit.
Ah,
Just
you
getting
really
ready.
did.
Just getting ready. Yeah.
But we really put work into this. I mean, Benjamin and I have perfected this process. And I think a lot of women think that online dating is kind of a shot in the dark. You're putting up a profile, you pick some pictures, and you sit back and you kind of, okay, you're waiting, you're twiddling your thumbs, and you're just hoping that you're going to get discovered. And the truth is that there is a lot that can be done. One of the things I believe, and I've seen over and over again, is that the right man will respond very differently to the right profile. And there's certain photographs that are going to catch a man's attention. You do not have to be the prettiest, a supermodel, whatever. You can post beautiful pictures that really show your soul, capture your personality, where a man is going to look in your eyes and think, wow, boy, she would be fun. I could see, I want to go away to Europe with her. And I can't wait to get on a plane and, spend 2 weeks in Europe just with this woman. She looks like she'd be a blast. And I think that's what a lot of men are looking for. Women are so complicated to men. We can be so emotional. And just to see a woman who seems like she would be fun to be with and uncomplicated. And is that true, David? Would those be things that would catch your attention?
Mm, well, fun is good. Beautiful is good. Um, Playful, yeah. Just I tell Jane I like that she's complicated. I mean, that's a lot of stuff to love.
I think women are complicated.
Interesting, right?
Yeah.
There's just always depths and things and
Right.
and all that, and that's great.
I think what I'm saying, David, is not emotionally messy, like not a lot of them, there are women out there who it's like walking through a minefield. And I think for many men, they're showing up and their hearts are, they want to make us, you all want to make us happy. But sometimes it seems with certain women that you just, no matter what you do, it's never good enough. It's never enough. You can't, you just can't make some women happy.
Right. And if someone's done their personal work,
Right.
You can't make somebody happy. Somebody's got to already have that for themselves.
Right.
So,
Yeah. Yeah. And I think that's what I'm trying to show my women is how do you, how do you, not get, how do you express yourself? It's of course, people are going to have moments of disappointment or where you're gonna, things aren't gonna not, misfires and things aren't gonna connect, but how can you be a mature adult woman and express in a way to a man that you're not gonna alienate him or push him away or shame him, right?
yeah. And then as you're saying that, you didn't ask me the question, but for me, I would say having experience dating is really, you're either going to like somebody or you're not going to like them, when it comes right down to it. And why not just be yourself as much as you can within good things? Because if you try to be something else, thinking that someone else is going to like you better for not being who you are, that's just never going to work.
Yeah.
I mean, if you're getting someone who pays attention and is aware and, wants to know the person. And to me, it just comes down to that.
Well, one of the problems with dating, with a lot of dating advice, is like Jane said earlier, it's all strategic. And so it's all based on if he says this, you say that. If he does this, you do that. And what happens is women attract the attention of a man because they're making these sort of, it's like a chess game, right? But then once they have the attention of this man, their true self comes out.
Right.
And they can't sustain a loving, heartfelt connection. And that's what I'm showing women is how to do that. How not just to get a man's attention, but how to love men, how to understand what men are going through. A lot of women think, oh, we're the victims and men are the perpetrators and we're always getting taken advantage of and all. But in my work, it's really humanizing both, men and women and saying, look, we're both in this together. It's hard for all of us. This is challenging. Men go through their struggles. And it's just as important that we understand what you're going through and give you the space to come into a relationship with us and bring all of yourself, which I think many men have learned over the years. There are things, that you just don't tell a woman.
Right. And what you said is that beautiful feminine energy, to be able to be open and receive. And I mean, I shouldn't say feminine energy because, well, but I mean, yeah, I won't
say
say. Anyway, but that's what you said is good. That resonates, is
Yeah.
to be able to receive and listen and give space and
Right.
get the same in return.
But when for women, I think there's a place where there are certain things, society, religion, whatever, supports a certain view, and and men cannot authentically say the things that are really on their minds. My husband could tell me anything. I mean, if a gorgeous woman walked by and he was like, wow, boy, that's a beautiful, she's gorgeous. I could care less. I want him to be able to say those things with me and never have to worry that I would be jealous or that I would think that he loves me less or feel threatened by those things. Oh my gosh, no, but he's human. That's what God, and he said to me many times, if I stop noticing beautiful women, I mean, shoot me. So I want my guy to be able to do those things. But Jane, you were wanting to say something.
No,
Oh,
maybe. So one of the things, Lisa, that you also did so well and helped me understand is you did that translation of men's behavior. That I think many women use a lens on men's behavior that's either the same as women, like through their own lens, which
yes.
isn't right, or have this really defended, looking for the wrong. When I think back to a lot of the group calls and women just being so quick to take men's behavior and label it, right? Just looking for the thing that they might have done wrong or they didn't quite like. But so your program so helped me, and I think really helps them. And I mean, you go like, wait, think about this differently, see it through a different lens. And that's everything. Yeah.
Yeah. I think women are so quick to judge. We're so guarded, and we have these very black and white ways of looking at men. And if it's, the moment that it's just this knee-jerk reaction, like, I wrote to this guy and he didn't write back, and he's probably seeing, another woman, or, God forbid, he may have had a rough week at work or something. And or his ex-wife and kids, or who knows what's going on in this guy's life, right? But women are just like, he should be pursuing me. He should be messaging me every morning and every night. And it's like, wow, like, give this guy a chance to just show up for you, or don't make assumptions, and at least say, hey, what's going on over there? It's so simple, but so many relationships must not happen because of these knee-jerk black and white rules that so many coaches are telling women. And there's book after book about that stuff. With the rules, I don't know if you're familiar, David, with this book called The Rules, but it was written by, I think, two women who said, these were my grandmother's rules, or these were our grandmother's rules, and this is what works. And they're bringing these very antiquated, you never call a man. You never call a man. Like, if a man, like, you sit and wait for men to reach out to you. And, I have had so many women over the years say, this guy that I was dating, he never called me. And then years later, our paths crossed, and the guy said to me, well, you never really responded to what I called you, I reached out, and you never reached back. and I figured you weren't interested. And this woman was like, well, I was just following the rules. I thought if he really liked me, he'd pursue me. And the guy was getting no receptivity, and nothing happened. And I even had some couples that actually met later on, and the woman was like, no, I was really into you, and they wound up together. But it wouldn't have, they didn't reach back out to the guy, and he thought she didn't care. Isn't that crazy?
Yeah.
It goes on all the time. So let's go to the two of you. David, tell me about your first date. What was that like with Jane?
Good.
And we should note, I mean, it's during the pandemic, right?
Yes, so let's talk about that.
Yeah, so there was, texting and then phone calls and then Zoom. So, I mean, we're doing all of that because it was February in the pandemic in the Pacific Northwest. Things are really closed. So part of the discussion.
And it was screening too. I mean, it was a screening process also, just putting eyes on each other and talking, hearing voice and, banter back and forth. Yes.
Wow. And so how long did that go on before you actually had your first real
You're better
date?
with dates than I am.
Yeah, it was about a month, I think. So by the time we met, because what we could do was meet someplace and be outside, but it's the Pacific Northwest in February. It was 47 degrees or something, right? So many restaurants were closed. You couldn't do the kind of normal first date stuff. So, but by the time we met in person the first time, we probably had 7 or 10 hours of time in conversation.
We had good rapport.
Were you looking forward to talking to her? Were you feeling excited about the possibility?
Yes. Yeah, I was excited, but I wasn't nervous.
Nice. Really nice. That's great. And why weren't
nervous, right?
I was a little nervous. Yeah, of course I was a little nervous, but we were both pretty excited.
Wow. And did you go to dinner? Did you go for a walk? What was that first date?
We just kind of went for a walk and got a coffee and sat outside, and then we went and had some late lunch.
Nice.
Yeah.
And when you walked,
then we went and sat in my car for a while and just talked because she was waiting for a ferry. So, yeah.
Not like a magical ferry, an actual ferry, like a ferry boat.
A boat ferry, yes.
Ferry.
I was waiting for my love ferry. Oh my God.
The metaphorical love ferry, ferry of love.
That's so funny. And when she left, what were
she
you?
She went overboard. Okay, stop.
What, David, what was your thought? Like after the date, what were you thinking?
I was excited to know her better. It felt very natural, I think, from the start. From the start, it was just natural and easy and genuine and I think very comfortable. Yeah.
And when did you know?
And she thought it was funny.
She thought you were funny.
Among other things, yeah.
And certainly extremely handsome. Yeah, she had to have been, yeah. And when did you know that you were falling in love with her?
Pretty quick.
On the Zoom dates, on the first date? When did you know? On the actual physical date?
I would say, yeah, the physical dates, because you can talk on the phone and Zoom, but I think until you actually see somebody in the flesh and, smell them and look at them and see how how she moves and everything. Yeah.
Yeah. And then you knew pretty quickly after that that this was it. And Jane, how about you?
Yep. I, yeah, I think you may have had a sense a little sooner than I did, or you could articulate it sooner than I could, but we were both. It was just, and Lisa, you saw some of this unfold. It was just like
Mhm.
each phone call, each Zoom, each step was like, yes, 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 yes. I mean, never a red flag. And it was, I, yeah, I can't even describe how lovely that was, how much that just expanded my world, how how much possibility it seemed every time we talked, every time we were together. It was just like, oh,
Wow.
oh, everything I'd ever dreamed about having in a relationship and more. Things I hadn't even dreamed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That it could be
And
so.
we're paying attention. Well, I don't think we're blind to, I mean, I don't think we got blinders on. I think that, we both have enough experience
Mhm,
and experiences
mhm.
that, I don't think we're not skipping any of the very important steps. We're being very conscious.
Yeah. Yeah. And how long have you been together now? How long has it been?
Almost 5 months.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. And is it clear for both of you that this is where you want to land? That this is the person that you both know. And it's a knowing, right? There's just this, like, we will be together, till the end, right? As long as we're here. Yeah. Yeah. It's incredible. And what is it like for both of you? I have chills. So I love knowing that. That gives me so much joy to know that, because I know what that's like. I know what it's like, for the last 19 years of my life, to go to sleep every night and to wake up every single morning knowing that I will be with my husband for as long as we are both here together. Right. And there's something extraordinary about, we call this, David, a guardian of your soul, right? That you're guardians of each other's souls, and that you're here no matter what happens, no matter what life brings. You're really true partners in every sense of the word. What's it like to know that? What is it like to meet my soulmate off your to-do list and know that you found your person?
It's good.
Don't overstate things, Jade. Overly romantic or
Let me
anything.
raise that. It's really good. The angels are singing. I mean, oh, hey, I can hear them. Yeah.
What's it like for you, Jane?
Oh, you've heard me talk about this some. It, great career, great friends, like all the circles in life were really good. I thought I had a very complete, happy life. It was complete, happy life, except relationship, right? And I went into this thinking, okay, need to fill in the relationship bubble, and then it's really complete. What I didn't understand was that finding this relationship, this relationship changed everything. It changes all the other bubbles, right? There's just, and you've known this, Lisa, and you would talk about it. And I think I have a sense of it now, right? Everything changes. Everything. The joy, the happiness, the steadiness, the groundedness. It yeah, hard to find words for it. And everything else kind of lines up around this. And it is just such a deep knowing, and a comfort and an ease.
Bubbly.
And
And
bubbly.
bubbly.
I'm bubbly.
Well, with this one for sure, but it is, it changes every single second
Yes.
of our lives because
Yeah.
we are no longer one, we are two. We're two
And
people who are living, yeah, and what? You say it, Jane.
sorry to interrupt. I was telling some friends last week that I think, being with David calms me, steadies me. Like my central nervous system is as relaxed and calm and happy as it's ever been. And I think actually I am as happy as I have ever been in my life, ever.
Yeah. And it's knowing no matter what happens in our lives, no matter what happens in a single moment, if our, I remember one of the worst things I've ever gone through was the loss of one of our dogs. And he was only 5.5 years old. And I don't know how I would have gotten through that if it hadn't been for my husband, right? Like I loved this dog. We have dogs in our lives. We're big dog people, and we have dogs in our lives, but then we have dogs that you will never ever have another dog like that dog. And Owen was and just going through that, but going through it with Benjamin, together, knowing we both loved him. And it was an unparalleled life experience. I mean, it was tragic and extraordinarily beautiful altogether. But as having him there with me made it all possible. So I think it's those things. Have you been married before, David?
Yes.
You have. You've been through a marriage, and do you have children?
Yes.
You do. Okay. And you as well, Jane?
Have been married, no kids.
No kids. Okay.
Yeah, married twice. Yeah.
Married twice.
I think we're life partners for sure.
Life partners for sure.
Yeah.
How beautiful. It's an incredible thing to know. Well, look, this is the thing everybody wants. We can accomplish everything else in our lives, but having a true partner to share this all with, that is the Holy Grail. That's the thing that we are all looking for in this lifetime. And I know.
And having someone who accepts you and appreciates you for who you are, and regardless of what's happening, or
And David, you said it earlier, you have to have the courage to show up as who you are. You can't fake it. You can't have strategies. You have to show up, I think, the way you and Jane did, so that you can both see the real person and let the chips fall where they may. But to be accepted for who you are, you have to have the courage to show up that way, right?
yeah. And maybe kind of what Jane said too is, if you've done your personal work, it's about accepting yourself too.
And
So
have you done your personal work? Let's talk about that, because women are so, I've done all this work, and where are the guys who've done their work? And can you speak to that a little bit?
Well, I've gone through counseling, and I had some really good counselors over my life. Well, one woman in particular, and there was some stuff during my marriage. There was a lot of work at the end of my marriage, and when I first started, I had a lot of work to do, and it's just, I guess I was good at it. Just I embraced it. I didn't run away from it. And like I said, I had a wonderful counselor, friend, guide who helped me. And a lot of it was just learning literally to accept who you are, and that that's okay. You don't got to be something else for somebody else. But that's coming just to your own space before you can move into space with someone else.
David, a lot of men won't go to counseling. They feel that it shows weakness, that it's not masculine to seek out the help of a counselor. Can you talk a little bit about that and why you chose to do it? What got you there?
I would just say, knowing that what I was doing wasn't working, I would also, like I said, give great credit to the counselor that I found, and she is very skilled, and maybe just knew how to be encouraging. And like I said, I guess I'm a guy who, if I see it's something that needs to be worked on, I go toward it instead of away from it, especially personally.
Hmm.
Yeah, it's yeah, I can't speak to strength or weakness or anything like that. It's just it other than it feels like strength to be able to challenge, not challenge, but face your stuff
Mhm.
and work on it.
Did somebody suggest to you to go to counseling, or was it just you realized that you weren't happy or that you had things that you needed
Yeah,
to
my
work?
ex was like, yeah, you go talk.
Your ex told you.
Bless her heart, she's a wonderful woman.
Yeah.
But and it was like, yeah, and it was like, okay, well, all right, well, let's do this. And then I was the one who ended up really doing the work a lot, but that's what got me started. And yeah, I just embraced it.
It's amazing. Amazing. And something, so many of the women that I have worked with are in relationships with men who went through counseling. And it's pretty incredible. I have so much respect for the men that are willing to do that. I have so much respect because I know how few men sit and talk about these things with other men. It's just guys don't sit around and talk about it with their male friends. They don't want to be seen as weak. Their male friends aren't even equipped to have those conversations with them and to actually go and get help. And it sounds like you really enjoyed it and got value, tremendous value.
Yes.
Yeah, good for you, David. Wow. 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 So Jane, let's go back to my course and what it did for you. It's so lovely, I think, for women to see where you are and what happened, and even to hear that this happened within, I think you were 6 weeks into the course when you and David first met. He read your profile 17 hours after it was first posted. And here you are, right? After 2 failed marriages, here you are, a woman who had everything except a wonderful man, a lover, a playmate, a best friend to share this beautiful journey with in life. How did the course help you get here?
So I want to talk about the work that you have people do, that really in-depth work about the inventory of relationships and identifying patterns. Like, that was really significant. But there's that second piece to that, which is not only knowing my patterns, eye-opening, absolutely eye-opening, clear in front of you. But the second piece, which was really thinking deeply about how I was attached to those patterns, what I got out of those patterns, how those were feeding me in a way. That, Lisa, I mean, I've told everyone this, it was just the genius. That's the piece, right? understanding where I was hooked in and what I was gaining from staying, and then realizing, "Ah, like, I don't want that, right? I didn't want those patterns. I didn't want the same thing. So I didn't want the pattern. And I could see where, but I needed, that's where your coaching was invaluable, to change my pattern, to not have the same responses, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, that was, it was, yeah, it was everything. And just keeping, I think it's the brilliance of your coaching. I don't say that lightly, right? I mean, the brilliance of your coaching was like keeping me honest
Mhm.
about, like, wait, think about this, wait, consider this, right? Always, like, just not allowing, having the support and having the coaching to not fall back, because the same old pattern would get me the same old thing. And
Right.
so it's so helpful to have somebody help you do the new stuff so you can
Mhm.
anchor that. Yeah.
Yeah. And it's also, I think, what's really extraordinary about that part of the course is that we're taking your entire history of relationships and we're bringing it down to these five things. And it really does put your whole history in perspective like that,
Yeah.
right? It puts it all into perspective. And usually people are able to accomplish this in a week or two. And then we get you back out in the dating world. And it's so eye opening. It's so mind blowing to do all of that work in that, week or 2 weeks time and then see it's like having your whole life laid out in front of you, right? And then you go back out into the dating world with this new perspective. You've taken years of weight off your shoulders, right? But by and simplified all of this, distilled it down to these five things that you have to change and the five things that you have to look for in order to shift this whole history of failed relationships. And that's kind of the magic of this course that I think, this isn't strategies. This isn't he says this and you do that, whatever. This is real transformation, deep, profound transformation from the inside out, right? And we see it. We see, David, in the course, we see women, they literally look 10, 15 years younger, right? After they get through that first month of the course and they start dating and they get back out there, it's like years of pain and suffering and not understanding why they keep failing over and over and over again. It's like that's lifted. Yeah, yeah, it's amazing to watch. And something I did in my own life, I took this is a process that was developed from 8 years of working with different people and then taking all of these different threads from psychology, from my own, empirical experience, from spiritual programs I did, but all, that process is developed from all of the different courses and trainings and things that I did. And then I put together all the pieces. And yeah, it's pretty amazing to watch it work. I mean, here's the result of that. Wow. Well, this is amazing, Jane. What would you say to um, a woman who was on the fence? Like, she's like, this is just such a big investment. I don't think I can do this. Like, what would you say to that friend or that woman who's like, I don't know.
Oh, I would say a couple of things, right? One is that when you find your person, I mean, there is no price on that. Is just like, it is pennies for the for finding this and what it is. I would also say that I think that if, for anyone who's considering it, that if you come into the program full hearted and like follow Lisa is what I would say. Do everything Lisa says. If they come in and do it, like don't pull back, don't think you know it all, but are truly open to being in a new place with relationship. It's like come in, do everything you say, and it's almost, I mean, guaranteed. It's like just if you use it all, you have to get to a better outcome. Like you've guaranteed it.
Yeah. You're going to have a whole new perspective on everything about this
Yes.
process, right?
Yeah.
About
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and it's not as if I mean, we're talking about like the inventory and the work. I mean, it's depth work and it's intense, and the dating is what it is, but there's fun in all of this, and there's hopefulness and the support of the other women. I mean, that was priceless as well. I'm still in touch with 3 or 4 women. Like we talk every week, right? That were in the program when I was.
Yeah, it's wonderful. David, any words of advice, parting words of advice for the women who want what Jane and you have, that you would say, anything that you can say of encouragement to these women?
I would say be yourself, be genuine, know your value. Don't be afraid to ask and go for what you want, and just be genuine and honest, because you're going to get there eventually. You might as well just start out that way.
Yeah, and be receptive to men, that good men,
Yeah.
A good man may be introverted. And
give them the green light. I mean, that's huge. It's just like, invite them in.
have an open heart and let him come into it, because that's what he's looking for. That's what you're looking for. Thank you both so much. I can't begin to express my joy at seeing the two of you together. This is just, oh my God, this is everything I live for. Everything I live for is to see this and to know that I carved a path through the dating world, through the universe, to find the guardian of my soul, and to see the two of you together and see this beautiful partnership, and to know that I can show other women how to have this in their lives is a miracle. So thank you for
You must love doing it.
It is the greatest joy. It really is, David. I'm so fortunate to do the work I do. And it's just extraordinary. It really is. And I just feel like I'm a conduit, and I'm as astounded as anyone else that this works. Believe me, none of it is egoic in any way, shape, or form. I sit and I marvel over and over again that it really is a miracle, but I feel so fortunate that I can be a catalyst. So thank you for being here.
And Lisa,
good job.
Lisa, I just love you from the bottom of my heart. Just love you. And then there was this whole process. And I can't look at David and not be grateful to you. Like you're wrapped into the story of this. You're wrapped into its very existence. And I will always be so, so grateful. Yeah, love ya.
Thank you both so much.